Morning guys, Mark Farashi with ProTech Dog Training. I'm doing this on my phone as I drive to Orange County from the high desert, about an hour and a half to go service a client. As usual, I usually post a lot of things that are relative to what's going on with me at the time, and that's kind of what's happening right now is the end of the year and the workload on a dog trainer. This is one of the things I've talked about a little bit, kind of touched on in the past, as far as proficiency in your craft and your skill in training a dog. But also a lot of the times when I have kids coming at me and they want to become a dog trainer and they're asking me and picking my brain and asking me about the trade, what do you got to do to become a professional, what does it take, etc., etc. My biggest thing that I usually tell them is that you need to go get a college degree, because I don't have one. Okay, I was a little bit on the rough side of life and got my high school degree but never got a college degree. And so management wise, in regards to handling a business, that'll be the one thing that gets you. Okay, because you can train a dog, but if you don't know how to manage a business and you don't know how to turn over money and make a profit, you're not going to make it, right? Bottom line, right? So most of the time when a kid comes at me and wants to become a dog trainer and he thinks he's enamored by it and he thinks it's all romantic, I try to give them a little bit of tough love, so to speak, and make them realize that they're better served by going and getting a little bit of a minor or a major in business management. You know, get a degree under you that's going to allow you to be a better business person, and you'll do a lot better at business. Okay, so in that regards, the other one is that managing and handling a workload is going to affect your ability to train a dog. And how is that the case? Well, it boils down to is if you can't handle the workload, you're not going to produce the product. Okay? And right now, as an example, I very rarely ever have a situation where I don't fulfill my obligation and what I feel that I should be turning back to the customer and producing a product. It's very rare for me not to be able to do that. Right now, I'm kind of faced with that. This last month has kind of been the perfect storm. Everything's gone wrong. The weather, we've got snow, we've got rain, we're living up in the high desert, which I'm not used to. And that being the case, I'm taking a dog back right now that I have not fulfilled that contract in regards to what I feel the dog should be doing as far as his proficiency in the work. And I feel real bad about it, but at that same time, I can't just keep the dog. And I could, but the customer wants the dog back. So I'm going to go take the dog back to the customer and give him the option to go ahead and bring him back in more towards springtime when we get better weather and I can do a better job of staying on top of what I've got to do to get the dog worked every day. With this weather, I don't have an indoor training area. And with this weather, I haven't been able to get out every day and work the dog like I should be doing. Usually you're going to work the dog 2 to 3 times a day. At least 5 days a week, and produce a product. That's what I usually do. In this case, I haven't been able to give the dog what he deserves, and in that regards, I'm taking a dog back to the customer that is really not working to my level that I feel the dog should be doing. So I feel bad. I'm depressed. I'm bummed out. It's the end of the year. You're kind of reflective on the new year coming, and I have to tell the customer that his dog hasn't been completed, the job has not been completed, and the dog's not working to the level that I want him to work. Needless to say, the customer's going to be a little bit bummed. He's going to be a little bit, it's going to affect me and what he feels of me and how he looks at me, and that's what affects me. I care about what my customer gets back as far as a product. So that's very rare for me to have happen. I'm usually the opposite, where I'm very proud of what I produce and I give the customer back more than they have expected. And for a long time, I've had trainers come at me and see what I do, and they always ask me, why do you do that? Why do you put so much work into that? You don't need to do all this stuff, because they don't feel that the customer even knows what they're supposed to get back. And their criteria is they're basically ignorant, they're uneducated, they have no clue what the criteria is supposed to be. So that being the case, they can take advantage of that customer. And in this regard, I feel that's a failing on our industry. because we need to do a better job of educating the customer and making sure they understand what they're going to get back. But there's a lot of variables in this. In this regard, this dog was very much a challenge. A high drive dog that somebody had originally as a pet, and they did the wrong things, and they basically stifled the dog. They tried to force him to mind and tried to stifle the dog, from what I can see anyway, and that affected the dog's ability to learn. The first thing you need to do when you're doing training is to teach the dog how to learn. You have to get him to understand where reward's coming from, what the consequences are going to be if there are some. Some is just not feeding him. It could be as little as not giving him a reward when he does the wrong thing. It depends on how you're working the animal, because every dog is different. But in that regards, that's one of the failings I think that the industry has as far as dog trainers, that the general public has no clue on what really is expected of that dog as far as training, okay? So I try my best when I'm working with a customer to do a lot of education and try to take my time in getting the customer to understand. Now this customer is a little bit more affluent. He's going to expect the product back. And then what is his conception of what he thinks in his mind that he's going to be getting? What is he paying for? And in general, most dog trainers take advantage of this. They take advantage of their customers. What I'm going to do right now is he's given me a certain amount of money up front, and he sent me another check in between. I didn't cash that check, and I've got it in my pocket. I'm going to give him that money back, and I'm going to go ahead and take the front money because I fed the dog. I did put my time into and energy into trying to train the dog, and I didn't fulfill my side and my heart. I feel that way. I didn't fulfill my side of my obligation. So I'm going to take it in the shorts. I fed the dog, I've boarded them, I've done all this work, and it just didn't work out. And I'm giving him a product that's really not been finished, okay? So there's the difference between me and somebody else. I'm going to give him his money back, and I'm going to ask him if he would like to let me take the dog back later, and that's up to him. And he may be a little upset. He may not want to do business with me. He may go somewhere else. He may be angry. And I have to face all this. I'm going to have to face the reality of what happens with this client. And I'm not a happy camper because of that. Because I care. I care about the dog. I care about my product, the service that I give, the dog's proficiency, and what I've done to fulfill my obligation. It's important to me. Okay? So that being the case, I feel like I've failed this customer, okay? Rarely do I ever have that happen. Usually it's the other way. Usually I fulfill a contract and the dog is really working well, and I produce it. So I've got to kind of change the way I do business in a certain respect. I don't think next year I'm going to take dogs in this time period because there's too much weather involved up here. I don't live in the LA basin. I live up in the high desert. That being the case, I end up having a weather pattern that I'm not used to, and I probably should have not just taken a dog in this time period, and that would have been a better thing to do than have this and be faced with this and have to disappoint a customer. So just keep it in mind. I'm just rambling right now, but we're talking about some general things that most trainers are not going to talk about. I know of some very good trainers that have had the same thing happen, where they have not produced a product and they've returned the dog back to the customer and they don't think it reflects on them. It does. I hear about it, okay? I know that so-and-so that's a very high caliber trainer that's charging top dollar has not fulfilled his obligation because people talk, okay? And people talk about it and they know, okay? So does that reflect on him overall? No, because most people that are professionals, I don't go around bad-mouthing the man. I don't go tell people about it, but it happens, okay? This is, the realities of life, okay? How did he handle that customer? What did he do? I don't know. All I heard is that he went to another trainer and he paid another trainer to fulfill the obligation, and he took his dog somewhere else. And that's where I heard about it from, okay? So it's a fact of life. How you handle this situation, what you do is going to be reflective on you as a person and your quality in your business, So that's my rambling to end the day on New Year's Eve as we go into the next new year. And right now, I'm not a very happy camper. I'm looking at a lot of things forward. You reflect on things at this time period where we look at what we did last year and we look at where we're going the next year. we're looking forward to say, this is the goals that I have, this is what I want to achieve, and you're looking at things that you accomplished or didn't accomplish in the year before. And it's a pretty heady time for a lot of people that get this way, those goal-oriented people that are motivated and that want to succeed in life. This is when you set goals and you look at yourself and you say, am I getting things done that I want to get done? Am I achieving my goals? Am I going in the right direction, or do I need to regroup and change some things? So in my mind, I need to change some things and I need to figure some things out. So I'll talk to you later. Mark Farash with ProTech Dog Training. I'm not even sure I'm going to post this, but we'll find out. Have a good New Year's, everybody. Bye-bye.